friends. So today we're going to get back our clay slabs that we started for our dragon eyes. You're going to take it out of your bag, and today you're going to have a rolling pin that we might be able to use later on. We might not need to use it at all. We're also going to have a toothbrush and some water. This is going to be for attaching your clay to the slab. We have to do a score and slip method, which we kind of do that all in one with the toothbrush because it scratches it and it adds water at the same time. So when we're starting to build on big pieces, we are going to start with the eye, and then we're going to build from the outer edge to the inside. So we don't want to put any little things here. After we get the eyelids shapes done, then we're going to start from the outside edge and move in. That's going to be the best method. Today we're not worried about adding any textures. We are just adding pieces on. So I'm going to start by taking a piece of my clay off. And if we run out of clay, you can get more. And I'm going to roll out. I'm going to stiffen my hands. I'm going to spread them open, and I'm going to use this part to roll out. And I'm going to open my hands out when I roll. If I just go like this, it doesn't do anything. So you have to keep moving your hands out. This is what I'm going to use for the parts that are going to attach under the eye, like the eyelid part. So I could do one long one. I could use this tool. Is really good for cutting if you're separating clay. This needle tool is good for when you're cutting things out. But remember, we have to be really careful with that. So if I'm gonna do, let's say this one first, I can't just put it on because it's not going to stay. So I have to score and slip it. So I'm gonna kind of measure it right now and put a little mark there so I can take it off. And nothing should be thinner than this. This is like the thinness of my pinky. We don't wanna have, I could just scratch it like this. Then I'm going to place it on top, and I can pinch it, or this is where you get creative with your designs. If you want to have a thicker piece, like a thicker coil, that's what we made to put on top, that's fine. You do want to press it on without flattening it completely. A little bit of a different design around the eye, and that's fine, but we're going to do the eye first. I could take my finger and just get a tiny bit of water to smooth some of that in. The tiniest bit of water goes a long way because if you use too much water, it gets muddy and things kind of fall off. I'm gonna start adding some bigger shapes, kind of like horns, because I want to start, remember, with the outer edge and then moving in. And now we don't want to have things all around the edge. You want to kind of just put it in a few different spots. So how I'm going to do that, I want to move these out of the way. I always want to know where this is at all times so I don't poke myself by accident. And this is where you don't need a whole lot of clay. You're going to roll it in a ball. You can push it down like this. You could also kind of go like this. So I don't really think we're going to need the rolling pin today, actually. And this is where you can cut out your shapes, but you want to make sure that they're not too thin. And see how I'm cutting, but my finger is away from the cutting tool? That's really important. So we don't want anything thinner than this because it won't stay. And we can't attach things here. We have to attach on top of the slab, not over here, because it won't have enough space to stick to it. So if you're not sure if something is thick enough, just ask me. And you see how now I'm pushing it down? I can't just plop it on. I have to kind of push it down with a tiny bit of water, or no water at all. Depends on how wet it is. Too much water, it's gonna get all like floppy. I can also shape it in my hand. If I did want to get a point, I could just change the shape, and that looks kind of cool. So if I just kind of shape it in my hand without getting it too thin, I might like something like that as well, which I think I do right over here. Okay, now the other thing I want to show you is you might want to roll some balls, and that's pretty easy, right? We don't want anything too small. I could kind of pinch it with my fingers just a little bit so it flattens out a tiny bit. And then I could think about where I want those. If we want them smaller, you just need to have smaller clay. So something like that. So now I'm just gonna do a little bit of attaching, and that probably will be all you have time for. And for that, I don't have to really smooth it. If I just push it down, that should be good enough. Point something out to you too. When I added these parts on, I went all the way down to the eyelid, but this one I moved up a little bit because I wanted to have some designs underneath. So you do want to have it attached to the slab, not here, but on the front, but you could move it up a little bit if you want some things underneath. The only other thing I didn't show you is that if you roll out a coil, you could make a spiral, because I know a lot of you did those on your designs. So then when I'm rolling it, I want to roll it pretty tight so there's no holes.